Hello everyone, Pancakes here, and today is a very, very interesting day. Apparently tomorrow we are all doomed and we're all going to die. At least that's what some people tell us. If you guys are not yet aware, apparently tomorrow the Mayan calendar is going to end, and that means we're all doomed. However, is that true? Well, I'll go into that in a little bit. But one thing I've been wondering as of late, probably because of our supposed impending doom, is what is it with humanity's obsession with the apocalypse? What is it with our obsession with the end of the world? Why is it that we seem to fantasize about it so much? And I've thought about it a little bit, and I'd be interested in seeing what you guys have to say about this. But it seems to me that it has to do with a couple of factors. I think the first factor is sort of this whole factor of escapism, and that a lot of us, we live very mundane, very boring lives. I mean, I myself don't really live the most interesting life known to man. I mean, I go to school, I study, I may hang out with friends a little bit, I eat, and I go to sleep, right? And it is what it is, but it's not particularly exciting. I'm not exactly out there going on adventures and wrestling lions and stuff like that. It's a pretty boring life for the most part, and we make the best of it. But at the end of the day, I think most people tend to live overall mundane lives, and we go on vacation every now and then to break the monotony. But that's kind of how life is for most people. And I think the prospect of the apocalypse is very similar to why people may say play a lot of video games or go to the movies, is because it's a break from that reality. And to a lot of people, the apocalypse would mean a more interesting time, something different from the monotony, the boringness, the mundane that we all experience from day-to-day life. However, is the apocalypse really what we hope it would be? And the answer is, of course not, right? I mean, it's the end of the world. People are going to die. A lot of people are going to die. It would not be a particularly pleasant time by any means. And if anybody here has seen the movie that goes by the name The Road, it's a very realistic depiction of sort of how society would be following, say, the apocalypse. And for those of you who are not aware of the movie, it stars Viggo Mortensen, who does a very, very good job in that movie. And it's about the apocalypse. It takes place 10 years after this apocalyptic event. It does not really say what happens because it's not particularly relevant. However, it is implied through the movie that it's either due to a supervolcanic eruption, asteroid impact, or a nuclear fallout. But they don't really say, and it doesn't really matter. The whole point is 10 years after this after this apocalyptic event, society is crumbling. Humanity seems to be sort of on its last legs. People are dying off left and right. People are resorting to cannibalism and all kinds of horrible things, and it's a very depressing, very brutal, very hard to watch movie. But at the same time, it's so good because it's so realistic in that regard. It seems to be probably the most realistic movie that I've ever seen that relates to the apocalypse. I mean, it's sort of a cynical, depressing, I guess, view of how humanity would react to such an event. But at the same time, you look at that and you think, that could happen. That could very, very well happen. And it's certainly not a world you'd want to live in. And like I said, very good movie. Interestingly enough, it was actually filmed in Oregon, which is where I live, and I can totally see why, because it's like 1 p.m. right now. I'm looking outside, and it looks like it's 6 p.m., and it's raining. So it's the weather outside here is pretty depressing in itself. So yeah, definitely recommend checking out the movie if you're into say like the apocalypse and stuff like that. It's a very good movie. However, it is not for the faint of heart. It is, like I said, very disturbing, very brutal. And definitely not a movie for those who are very, I don't know, who get affected very, very easily by things like that. Definitely a good movie, though. And I guess the next thing to talk about here would be the Mayan calendar itself. Does it actually mean that the end of the world is coming? Well, I've done some research on this, just out of curiosity mainly, and a lot of Mayan historians, a lot of Mayan researchers, a lot of them have said, no, not at all. The Mayans themselves did not even state that the world was going to end. If anything, they stated that the end of the long count calendar, which is this calendar that people speak of, would result in, if anything, human enlightenment or an expansion of of humanity overall. A very good time, a time to rejoice, not a time to dread or be afraid of. So the Mayans themselves did not really seem to believe that humanity would be destroyed at the end of this long count calendar. And in fact, the calendar is very similar to our own Gregorian calendar in that once you hit the end of this calendar, or as you call it the end, it just restarts again. And you know, this like tomorrow would be similar to say December 31st on the calendars that we use today, the Gregorian calendar. And the significance of tomorrow would be very similar to, let's say, New Year's Day. The difference, of course, being that the long count calendar spans a period of time that's tens of thousands of years long, I believe, whereas our calendar only spans 1 year. So obviously it's a more significant day. However, to say that it is the end of the world, I think is twisting things a bit. In terms of actual physical phenomena, what could actually happen, a lot of people tend to, excuse me, I have a little bit of stuffy nose, I apologize. A lot of people seem to cite this planet X, or this asteroid impact. However, one day out, if such a thing were going to happen, we would know about it. We just would. We would know about it. We have very good scientists that work on this. We have a lot of good equipment that can detect these things. Anything that would be large enough to wipe out humanity, we would have known about a long time ago. So we don't have anything to worry about there. And, you know, the odds of something happening, something getting by that we weren't aware of, would be so small, it would be ridiculous to even think about. So, as far as I'm concerned, we really don't have anything to worry about there. And in terms of other phenomena, I guess one other possibility would be something like a gamma ray burst, which, for those of you who are not aware, is basically when a star is spinning very rapidly. At least this is from what I understand. I could be wrong. But I believe it's when a star is spinning very rapidly, and when that star goes supernova, which is usually the result of the, you know, stars tend to glow and they work because of fusion, atomic fusion. When the metals in the core when the core becomes unstable and collapses, the outer layers of the star will expand out and create this big, you could call it an explosion, I guess, and you would have radiation and everything just spewing out of this thing, and it's such a huge event that we can even observe it in galaxies that are hundreds of light years away. So these are huge things. However, as of now, we have a couple of stars that are in this galaxy that we know are going to go supernova soon, but none that are close enough to affect us. However, a gamma ray burst is different because it tends to shoot this stuff out in a beam because of the fact that the star is spinning very rapidly. And if that beam is pointed right at us, it would fry everything on Earth, and we would all die a horrible death. So that would suck. However, we don't even know if this thing is pointed at us, number one. And number two, even if it were, we're talking a cosmological timescale, right? Which is a factor of billions of years, not even millions. So the odds of that happening in our lifetime, once again, extremely small. The odds of it even happening tomorrow, even smaller. So I wouldn't even begin to worry about this or be concerned about this, because the odds of anything like that happening tomorrow would be so infinitesimally small, it's silly to even talk about it. So, you know, the way I see it is, chances are nothing's going to happen. However, I could be wrong. That would be pretty bad if I was, wouldn't it? And that would mean that this would be the last commentary that you guys will ever see from me. So let's hope that's not true. I hope you all enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys later.